Yo, what's good, trainers? All right, we're back. Not with our. I don't even know what kind of content I do anymore. The Deck Wizard out the window. Pokemon TCG Live took way too long to come out. I'm not. I can't do that. I'm in graduate school. I can't do a Deck Wizard every single day. Plus, I want to make the content that you guys like too, which is why today we have two Brilliant Stars decks. I finally made a bunch of lists. I'll be doing deck videos about each of the lists that I've made. And so I built them in real life with proxies, obviously. And so we're going to have them play against each other. So today we've got Torterra, which is, if you've seen my Brilliant Stars review video, go check that out if you haven't. And I think I actually am able to get through every single new deck that's coming out with Brilliant Stars. And Torterra is one of the big ones. And so Torterra uses Rillaboom as well as Torterra and does a crap ton of damage depending on how many evolution cards you have in play. So that's the deck on the top that you're seeing right there. And then we have Arceus VSTAR with Inteleon. I wasn't sure how exactly to play this deck at first, and I decided Inteleon is a solid engine, so let's just go with it. I think Arceus also, because of the drawback of double turbo energy, where once you attach it, now your attacks are doing 20 less damage, I think getting the pings from Inteleon is actually pretty valuable. Also with Inteleon, you can run things like Medicham V, which can also use the double turbo energy without having any drawback at all now. And you get to use that for just one energy attachment. You get to use that Yoga Loop attack. So that's what we have today. I'm going to be coming out with a bunch of new Brilliant Stars deck matches. If you're excited for the new format like I am, Brilliant Stars is an incredible set, then please go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to have match videos like this coming up, as well as lots of deck review videos and things like that. So let's go ahead. I have this footage sped up by 2. So let's just go ahead and get started. I am the Arceus player, and then my friend Eric is the Torterra player. And he had I had the unfortunate Farfetch'd start. So this Farfetch'd is a new card from Brilliant Stars. Does 20 plus 10 times the amount of damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon. So it's a nice finisher for a 1 prize. So I'm playing out my turn. I have a pretty solid turn, honestly. Level balls, quick balls. I'm able to fill up my entire bench, basically get everything I want. 2 Sobbles and 2 Arceus V. You want to make sure that you have 2 Arceus V, so that way, once you attack with the first Arceus V-Star, you get to use that Trinity Nova attack to do 200 damage, as well as put 3 more energies on one of your benched Arceus V. And so Eric is also having a pretty solid turn 1. I mean, he's got the turn 1 Gloria, which is pretty much all you can ask for, and he's going second, which is perfect. And so he's gonna have a nearly full bench right off the bat, which is, I mean, exactly what you want. So okay, he doesn't get. Okay, he does. Never mind. I spoke too soon. He is going to have an entirely full bench with this level ball. Oh, and I just go ahead and fix the camera. But I think in this game, he actually prized 2 Turtwigs, which is so bad. In the Torterra deck, you want to be able to have 4 Turtwigs down on your bench as soon as possible. So that way, once you get just 1 Grottle into play, because of that, I think Sun-Drenched Shell ability, you can just get out even more Grottles. So 1 Grottle turns into 2 Grottle, turns into 3 Grottle, turns into 4 Grottle. So you can just capitalize and just start evolving as soon as possible, as soon as turn 2, and just evolving as much as possible. So you want to make sure to get as many basic Pokemon as you can turn 1. And so in his Torterra deck, we also put in the B-Barrel. B-Barrel is a fantastic card. I think I have it in almost all of my Brilliant Stars decks. And so, okay, let's see what I'm doing this turn. So I get the Arceus V-Star out, and I also have Drizzile. And so Arceus V-Star is such a stupidly good Pokemon. As you can see, I flipped over my V-Star counter, and I'm using Starbirth, the ability, to just search for 2 cards. So I think I researched, and I didn't get any energies off of the research. So I was like, that's fine. I'll just use the ability and just search for them. I get to search for my double turbo energy. It was I mean, I basically just got whatever I wanted. In the Arceus deck, you really want to have the turn 1 attachment, and so I was like, I don't, using this V-Star ability this early, especially when I can get Marnie, like I don't really want to, but that turn 1 attachment, or in this case turn 2, was so important. I couldn't go, turn 1 I already missed an attachment. I couldn't go turn 2 without an attachment as well. So I decided to use that ability. Honestly, I think in every single game I've played with Arceus so far, because I've played a few already, and those are all recorded, so those will be out in the future. I've also used Starbirth super early in the game. It's just a great consistency ability. Just search for whatever you want. And so Eric had a pretty good turn. He had some Grottles, got a Rillaboom out, B-Barrel, but wasn't able to do too much, and so he just attacked with Grookey. I mean, Torterra's not going to be doing anything really until turn 3, unless you have a crazy good turn with rare candies and stuff, and have a turn 1 attachment and a turn 2 attachment. And also by turn 2, like, how many evolution cards are you actually going to get out? Probably not a whole lot. Okay, so I Drizzile for an Air Balloon, and then in Shady Dealings Inteleon for both a boss and I think, what do I get? A Research? Or a Charon's Care, I think. So I'm preparing for this Torterra to come up and smack me for a lot. Torterra, okay, I grab Marnie for next turn. Torterra does so much damage. Okay, I do end up getting the Charon's Care. I think Charon's Care is better here, because it forces my opponent to have a lot. They could, like, Eric could have another Torterra down for that benched Grottle, but he would need another evolution. Let's see, Torterra hits for 300 if you have all 6 evolution cards in play. So by taking out one of his Grottles, now there cannot be 6 evolution Pokemon in play next turn. So I know my Arceus V-Star is safe. That's why I got the Charon's Care. So then it cannot be one shot unless he has a Choice Belt, in which case that would do 250 plus 30, doing 280. That Choice Belt card does 30 more damage to your opponent's Pokemon V. A very good tool card that's coming out in Brilliant Stars. So I felt relatively confident with this play, just hoping that he didn't have a Choice Belt. If he doesn't have the Choice Belt, I have the Charon's Care, so I could just pick up that Arceus V-Star and just entirely erase all of the damage off of it. And so Charon's Care, if you don't know, is coming out in Brilliant Stars. Obviously, all these good cards are coming out in Brilliant Stars. And it is like Acerola, but it's only for colorless Pokemon. So they nerfed Acerola, but they put it in a format where you have VMAXs and V-Stars and these huge HP Pokemon. And so even though it's only colorless Pokemon, it's so good. It is just crazy good. Okay, so I think here Eric Ordinary Rodded or Level Balled before he using the Ordinary Rod, so I just let him take it back. He's using the Ordinary Rod first, and then will Level Ball for that Turtwig. He didn't realize that he had 2 Turtwig prized, and so he Ordinary Rodded the Turtwig from the Grottle that I just knocked out, and then Level Balled for that. So now he has his Turtwig on the bench again. Uses that Voltage Beat ability to attach to the active Grottle, and then Marnies me. I think he Marnies me into a fine hand. That seemed pretty okay. And he does get the Choice Belt, which is really scary. But I think, so let's see. If he has the B-Barrel, he has the knockout. If he has the B-Barrel as well as the Torterra. There's the Torterra. Do you see the B-Barrel? Just one B-Barrel. Do we see it? Oh my gosh, he does not have the B-Barrel. So that's also why I felt confident with that play. Oops, sorry about the camera. That's why I felt confident with that play. He needed quite a bit, right? He needed a B-Barrel, which is not the easiest to search out because you can only grab grass Pokemon with that Grottle's ability. Even Turffield only grabs grass Pokemon. He would need something like an Evo Incense in order to grab that B-Barrel. He would also need the Torterra. He needed the Thwackey, I believe, and the Choice Belt. So I go ahead and pick up all that 250 damage, gone. I just pick it straight up and then send up my other Arceus V-Star. Perfect. So basically this game's going exactly how I want it to. the Arceus V-Star is, I mean, the Charon's Care to pick up the Arceus V-Star is just crazy good. I just wiped off 250 damage and then just sent up another Arceus V-Star. Crazy good. Okay, so Eric's in a bit of a tough spot because those two Turtwigs are prized. Now, I mean, the Turtwig's down. He needs a Grottle, but he also wants to rare candy into the Torterra. And so he's in this weird spot where, I mean, you typically need about 2 turns. I mean, unless he draws into a rare candy, this deck plays 3. Unless he draws into a rare candy, he's not getting that Torterra. And if he does rare candy into Torterra, he's not getting the effect of the Grottle's ability. And so consistently, if you want to get these Torterras out, it's gonna take about 2 turns. Turtwig to Grottle to Torterra. And so it's like, it's interesting because Torterra does a lot of damage. It's a single prizer. It does 190 HP, but it's really slow. And if you prize things like 2 Turtwigs, it's gonna be even slower. I mean, he didn't even get another Turtwig down. If I boss and kill this Grottle, I mean, I think that's just game. Okay, there's an Evo Incense. I mean, I've already used my Shady Dealings in Teleon. It doesn't look like I have a boss in hand. So this Grottle is safe on the bench. But I guess just right off the bat, we're showing how fragile Torterra can be as well. It can be really strong, but it can be really fragile as well, especially since you're forcing your opponent to take 6 prizes. So they need to have a lot of resources to take 6 prizes. But not only that, you yourself as the Torterra player also need to last that long. And so in this deck right now, we have 2 Ordinary Rod, might even bump it up to 3. Not quite sure yet. I think it needs 3 Ordinary Rod, honestly. You need Turtwigs all the time, you need Grottles all the time. You need your energies back for Voltage Beat. And so I think we bumped that to 3 Ordinary Rod right after this set, actually. And if you don't have B-Barrel in your Torterra decks, you should put it in there. It's been really good. B-Barrel has that efficient front teeth ability, which just lets you draw until you have 5 cards in your hand, like the old Octillery from Breakthrough. And so when you're this Evolution Torterra deck and you're just like spewing cards into play and evolving stuff all the time, your hand size dwindles pretty quickly. And so having that efficient front teeth ability, just being able to go back up to 5 cards has been really solid. Okay, so let's see. He swung for 200. Still very good for a single prizer. Incredibly good. Now I do have 3 prizes left. I'll in post I'll put little tags on there. Yeah, 3 prizes left. So yeah, after knocking out this Torterra, I mean, there's not much that Eric can do after that. I'm set up to win next turn. I'm gonna snipe the B-Barrel off the bench as well as take a knockout. Yeah, and that's the game. So one thing to note in this matchup, and one thing that I was careful about, and I thought about this beforehand, is that actually let's here, hold on. I will finish that thought when I come back. All right. So what I was saying is one thing you have to be careful of, I guess, in this matchup is that as the Arceus player, your double turbo energy means you're doing 20 less damage with Trinity Nova. So instead of 200 damage, you're doing 180 damage. That damage is very relevant against Torterra, a Pokemon that has 190 HP. And so I try to be careful of that. I do obviously have the quick shooting Inteleon, which helps that a lot. So I don't really have to worry about it too much. I think there even was a situation where I could have done 180 to the Torterra and then like cleaned it up with a Yoga Loop, which would have been kind of cool. But I think that was just a win more kind of thing. Like I was already gonna win. Did I really have to, Yoga Loop and like rub it in his face? Probably not. That might be game 3. Sorry, I don't know if that's spoilers or not. Anyways, Eric gets the turn 2 Gloria. As soon as he can play a Gloria, he does. And so I had this, he doesn't have 2 Turtwigs prize this game. So he gets a Turtwig, a Grookey, and a second Turtwig. Also has a B-Barrel by turn 2, which is solid. Now, unfortunately, I talked about the Octillery from Breakthrough. Unfortunately, the B-Barrel is not as flexible because it has 120 HP. So it gave, it got a buff technically. It has 120 HP instead of 90 HP like the old Octillery had. But now you can't level ball for B-Barrel. So it's got its pros and cons. It is more resilient against things like Inteleon, but I honestly probably would have rather it been level ball searchable. So let's see. Yeah, he's got a solid turn. He's got the Grotle, 2 Turtwigs on the bench, Grookey. I think one Turtwig was surprised this game because he ended up getting the double Bidoof. Poor Eric, just prizing all his Turtwigs. And let's see. My hand is doo-doo, but it's not because I have Arceus VSTAR. This card is so good. I can't stress it enough. It's a stage 1, essentially, that you just get to just search your deck for 2 cards. It's insane. You're dead drawing? Cool. Search your deck for whatever you want. It's the end of the game and you have been popping off? Cool. Search your deck for 2 cards. Boss and, I don't know, Choice Belt. Good job. You won. It's dumb. You just get to search for whatever, whenever you want. And now, so one thing to note is that my Arceus VSTAR list is playing Paths to the Peak. Not crazy about that right now. And when playing this deck, you do have to be careful about shutting off your own Arceus VSTAR's VSTAR ability. I did see on Twitter, someone did indeed ask if VSTAR powers counted as abilities and therefore shut off by Path. He argued that VSTAR powers should not be shut off by Path because they are VSTAR powers, not abilities. That's not the case. They are still abilities, unfortunately. So just something to be careful with. You gotta, if you put a Path down, you can't use Starbirth. But in both of these games so far, I've used Starbirth turn 2. That's how good it is. I just want to use it as soon as I get it out. I feel like the early games is really like where you want it anyways. You have Drizzile, you have Inteleons. You mainly just want energies in the early game. And so that's mainly what I use Starbirth for, is just to grab energies. Because, sometimes you do whiff. It plays 5 waters as well as 4 double turbo energies. So Eric is popping off. He's got double B-Barrel, 2 Groudals on the bench, Rillaboom, Torterra. While I've been talking about how good Arceus VSTAR is, I haven't been talking about how good Torterra is. Look at it. It's crazy. Now he's efficient front teeth. He gets to use that twice a turn. He's got his Torterra powered up. He's going to Voltage Beat onto a bench Groudal. Oh my god. That is crazy. He's doing 300 damage. If he has a boss... Okay, he doesn't have a boss, so he just Marnies. But oh my god, if he had a boss, he could have. He had 2 B-Barrels. He totally could have drawn into a boss. Oh my god. Oh yeah. So he Marnies me. I had a pretty good hand. Obviously, I Starbirthed. And he Marnies me, and I have nothing. I have very bad cards, especially because... And I should have done this in a different way, so I did misplay here. I should have evolved the active Sobble. That way my level ball could have gotten a Drizzile here. So because I missequenced or evolved the wrong Sobble, then now I'm in kind of a precarious spot. So my thinking was I'd rather have a Sobble knocked out than a Drizzile, because Drizzile can evolve into Shady Dealings and Inteleon. But after that Marnie, I only had a level ball, so there technically were more outs to Drizzile, but I wasn't really expecting to start dead drawing off of Marnie. So I also did things a little questionable here. I think I probably should have ordinary routed the Sobble back in and level balled for that. or quick balled for it, and then next turn I could level ball for a Drizzile. Unfortunately, I don't think it matters because look at my opponent's board state. And they still marnied me into an absolute trash hand. Oh, and important to note, I also prized 2 Professor's Research this game. So actually maybe having the Drizzile wouldn't have helped me at all anyways. So my Arceus list only plays 2 Professor's Research. Should probably bump it up to 3. I think I was being a little greedy. But they were both prized this game, so I think I learned my lesson. Alright, so we see another Voltage Bee onto a 3rd Torterra. That means Torterra is... one is for sure doing 300 damage. The next one after that's doing 250. If he gets a Choice Belt, it's doing 280. And then, another Torterra on the bench. And he's down to 3 prizes. So I kind of just have to... at this point, I'm thinking... I top deck a Research. Thank my lucky stars. Thank the Lord. Okay, I Ordinary Rod stuff back in. So at this point, I'm thinking... I think the only way I'm going to win this game is by busting out my secret tech. My opponent has an absolute insane board state, but you might notice, sorry, lost my train of thought. They have 6 energies. Torterra usually plays about 8 energies. If I boss up this Rillaboom, and my opponent doesn't have a switch, or an air balloon, or maybe an energies prized, or things like that, it's going to be very hard to get this Rillaboom out of the active. It has 3 retreat cost. And so I have a secret tech in here. Whether it's good or not, I don't know. But I decide, okay, it's time to get out my Crabominable V. Crabominable V is my way to one-shot things. You snipe something twice with Inteleon, and then you can swing with Destroyer Punch for a lot of damage. And so I get out my Crabominable V. Okay, there we go. I'm hoping my opponent doesn't boss it up. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have a Water Energy in my hand. Is it start? What's happening here? All right. Unfortunately, I didn't have a Water Energy in my hand, so I had to play the Crabominable V down. All I had in my hand was Boss. At this point, only 1 card left in my hand. And so I had to play it down and Trinity Nova onto it. So I tried to bait my opponent a little bit by putting 3 onto it, making him think I was going to attack with it. What I was actually planning on doing was bossing the Rillaboom next turn and starting to use the first attack to deck him out, to slowly mill 2 cards off the top of my deck. I think that's the only way I'm winning this game. Unfortunately, he has the boss. He says, you know what? I think Crabominable V is more of a threat than this Arceus VSTAR that has 2 double turbo energies onto it. And because of that, those 2 double turbo energies, I could not kill the Torterra. Not that I was wanting to at this point. But yeah, dang. I was really hoping he did not have the boss or would not think about targeting my Crabominable V. Next turn, I was gonna kill that Rillaboom. And it would have been pretty sick. Now, I still could have technically bossed the Rillaboom and slowly decked my opponent out. But I'm pretty sure with Ordinary Rods and stuff, he had more cards in his deck than I did. So I needed Crabominable to be able to mill a little bit to get me that edge up. Oh, all right. So game 3. I start Medicham V. I cannot start an Arceus V this series. Arceus V is a great starter. It has the attack Trinity Charge, I believe, that just gets 3 basic energies and puts them onto one of your bench Pokemon. And so you can put a double turbo energy onto your Arceus V and then attach 3 water energies onto another Arceus V on the bench. Or onto your Medicham or onto your Crabominable V, whatever you want. That doesn't happen. So, pretty mediocre turn 1 for me. Meanwhile, Eric has another turn 1 Gloria. And so we're seeing it. We're seeing triple Turtwig turn 1, 1 Grookey down, 1 Bidoof, and a level ball. And so absolutely nuts turn 1 once again. So now I'm thinking I'm just going to get steamrolled just like the last game. mean, this thing is doing... Torterra was doing 300 damage to me. With a choice belt that's 330, he's knocking out VMAXs. It was doing so much damage. I mean, there was nothing I could do. So, you know, I decide I really got to get going. There's not a whole lot that I have going for me in my hand right now. I just have to Starbirth. So I Starbirth for 2 cards. I grab a double turbo energy and a Marnie. Oh, maybe it was this. Actually, maybe it was this game that double research was priced. Yeah, that's why I grabbed the Marnie. Rip. Yeah, so I grabbed the double turbo energy, attach that, get a quick ball so I can have a Sobble down. And yeah, just get ready to go. Now next turn, once I need an air balloon to retreat the Medicham since it has an annoying 2 retreat cost. And I need the attachment for Arceus VSTAR next turn to be able to Trinity Nova. So I'm just patient, you know, use my ability, attached, I'm happy. Let's see what Eric can pull off. Well, yeah, he has... See, this is just how good Groddle is. You get 1 Groddle out, and you have 3 Groddles out. And a Thwackey. Now, this Thwackey is supposed to be the free retreat stadium one, so I apologize. We just didn't have that one. So we were using this 100 HP Thwackey. I think he does attack with it, and so just pretend it's the 90 HP one. We didn't actually think it would matter, but he did end up actually attacking with Thwackey this game. Okay, so my hand, I've already discarded 1 Charon's Care. Oh, and there was a research in the discard pile, so I guess I didn't prize double research this game. Yeah, there's already 1 Charon's Care in the discard pile. I have 2 Charon's Care in my hand. I don't really want to research away 2 Charon again. So I just am content with just Drizziling, attaching an air balloon to Medicham, and then going ahead and using Trinity Charge. And I also did get the RCSV on the bench with that Ultra Ball. So I pretty much have everything I want. I have double Charon's Care in my hand. I mean, he can swing for... whenever you're playing against Torterra, you want to think about how much damage they're capable of doing the next turn, because you can predict their evolutions and whatnot. And so I'm thinking, okay, what's my opponent really going to do next turn? He can get a Torterra, that's fine. He can evolve. I mean, he already has 3 evolved Pokemon in play. He can evolve the B-Barrel. Max he's doing is 200 with a Choice Belt 230. And he does have all those things. And so I was fine. Like, that's also another reason why I wanted to keep the Charon's Care in my hand. Is I didn't, you know, he's doing 230. That's fine. Next turn, I could just pick up with Charon's Care, use that Arceus V-Star that I picked up to evolve the benched one that now has 3 water energies, which can now do 200 damage instead of 180 because it doesn't have the double turbo energy. So I bring up my Arceus V, bench that back down, play the Arceus V-Star. Now I have an Inteleon, so I can start quick shooting, which is also nice. And so, again, just 230 damage just wiped off with a supporter. I mean, that's better than... I guess not better than Cheryl, because Cheryl heals all of your evolution Pokemon. But the fact that I was just able to pick it up and then go into the benched one and just, you know, put my Arceus V-Star back down is just absolutely incredible. So I go ahead and knock out the active Torterra, put 20 damage on the Bidoof on the bench, and now my opponent's starting to feel the pressure a little bit. Now I have an Arceus V-Star that is doing 200 damage. I'm knocking out an evolution Pokemon basically every single turn. Meanwhile, this Torterra does not have 6 evolution Pokemon in play, meaning he can't knock me out unless he has a Choice Belt. And so I think last turn he also only had 4 benched Pokemon down. So then I knocked one out. That's only 3 benched Pokemon. You have to play 2 more basics down. You can't evolve them that turn. And so the max he's going to do is another 230 damage, 4 evolution Pokemon in play. And so he doesn't have it. He just has to hit for 100. He can't find his B-Barrel. And he's just kind of in a rut. And that's what you can find that happens with Torterra sometimes is that if you don't, I mean, he got the turn 1 Gloria, he had all his Pokemon out, but if you're not consistently evolving your Pokemon basically all the time, and that's why B-Barrel is so important too. If you're not evolving every single turn, you're behind. Your opponent is going to presumably be knocking out an evolution Pokemon every single turn. You need to be able to keep up with that. That means putting a basic Pokemon on your bench. That means evolving the basic you put on from last turn. You have to keep an endless cycle, basically, of evolutions going. And so when you don't have that, like even if you just miss one turn of evolving something, that's going to hurt you a lot in the long run. So I go ahead and knock out that Torterra. My opponent didn't even get a Groddle last turn, meaning now he has to spend a turn, and we saw this in game 1 too. He has to spend a turn evolving Turtwig. And so I think this is where he attacks with Thwackey. Okay, yeah, Evo Incense goes for the Torterra. Okay, maybe he rare candies into Torterra. Okay, so we see a rare candy into Torterra, Voltage Beat, and so Torterra actually would, with a Choice Belt, get the knockout. But he would need a way to move the Grookey out of the active position. And I think he Voltage Beats and actually... Yeah, he Voltage Beats before the B-Barrel, which we probably should have checked and made sure, you know, he had energy in there. There was only one energy, so he only Voltage Beated... That sounds weird. One energy onto the Torterra. And so then he Ordinary Rods 2 Grasses back into the deck. So that's a little unfortunate, but he wasn't going to get that Grookey out of the active spot anyways. But then there's that boss onto the Torterra. I'm not knocking out this Grookey. That's not what I want to knock out. And so, unfortunately, Torterra just kind of stumbled, and that short stumble kind of snowballed into, I guess, just a downward spiral. And I was able to take the lead. So I have 3 prizes left. I have, you know, another quick shooting on the B-Barrel. I have Yoga Loop set up. So next turn I can quick shooting twice on the B-Barrel, Yoga Loop, and then take another prize. And so Eric sees the writing on the walls. I didn't get to actually Yoga Loop. That's what I was talking about. But it was right there. It was so close. And so ultimately Arceus wins that. But Torterra put up a solid fight, you know? Torterra did way better than I thought. You know I talked a lot about Torterra in the Brilliant Stars video. But honestly, I mean, single prize attackers haven't been a thing for such a long time. I didn't think Torterra would have actually been good enough. I should say stage 2s haven't been a thing for such a long time. A stage 2 that's not Inteleon. Inteleon doesn't count. And so when it actually was able to, you know, that game 2, when it just steamrolled me and started doing 300 damage, hitting like a tank, and I only got 1 prize and I had to do 200 damage to that thing to knock it out. And he could just power up another one because Groddle makes it so easy and Rillaboom just searches out the energies. It really impressed me. So I want to try out Torterra a little bit more. I think we put in the 3rd Ordinary Rod. I think we're going to take out Turffield Stadium. It hasn't felt super needed with Groddles. I mean, you have all the Pokemon search you could want. Possibly considering more Choice Belts. I don't know, things like that. But we're going to refine it a little bit more, and then I'll do a deck list video about it. So stay tuned for that. Please subscribe if you enjoyed this kind of content. Brilliant Stars is a very cool set. I'm very excited for that to come out. So go ahead and please subscribe. I'm going to try and do at least 2 videos a week. And so actually, now that Brilliant Stars is coming out and I'm excited about making more decks, I'll probably do more than that. So stay tuned. Click the little bell to get notifications whenever I post. And thanks so much for watching. See ya.